Have you ever found yourself saying or doing something with a woman that you later regretted? Perhaps you thought you were being kind, but it ended up backfiring. Or maybe you tried to impress her, only for your actions to fall flat. It's a common experience, but the truth is that men often make some crucial mistakes in their interactions with women, not because they mean to, but because they're unaware of how their behavior impacts the dynamics. The problem with these mistakes is that they can cost you not only respect but also attraction and even long-term relationships. The worst part? Many of these errors are completely avoidable once you understand the underlying reasons why they happen. But don't worry, I've got you covered. Stick with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to share a mindset shift that will transform the way you interact with women forever. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we dive deep into mindset, relationships, and self-improvement. Today's topic is a big one: 8 things men should never do with women. These are mistakes that many men make, often without realizing their impact. But once you understand these key principles, you'll begin to naturally command the respect and attention of women, setting yourself apart as a high-value man. So let's get into it. 1. Seeking validation. One of the biggest mistakes a man can make when dealing with a woman is constantly seeking her validation. Whether it's repeatedly asking, "Do you like me?" or requiring constant reassurance about your worth, this behavior screams insecurity. Confidence isn't something you get from someone else, it comes from within. Think about a man who walks into a room and doesn't need to ask if he belongs, he just knows he does. Women pick up on that confidence instantly. On the other hand, neediness is a repellent, and no one is attracted to someone who is constantly searching for validation. The key takeaway here is that when you constantly need external validation, you signal to others that you don't value yourself enough. A confident man doesn't need to seek validation because he knows his worth, and that's incredibly attractive. 2. Over-explaining yourself. Next up is a big one: over-explaining yourself. This is a common mistake that many men make without even realizing it. When a woman questions something you said or did, it's easy to fall into the trap of offering long-winded explanations or a nervous apology. It's a natural impulse to want to clarify or defend yourself when you think something you did might have caused confusion or discomfort. However, this often backfires. A confident man owns his words and actions. He doesn't feel the need to over-explain or make excuses. Instead, he remains composed and straightforward. Why? Because when you over-explain, it can signal guilt or uncertainty. It makes you appear like you're unsure of yourself, and no one finds insecurity attractive. It can also make the woman feel like you're trying to cover up something or avoid taking responsibility. When you over-explain, you're essentially giving away your power. Instead of calmly and confidently stating your reason for your actions, you begin to apologize excessively or make excuses, which can make the situation feel awkward and put you in a position of weakness. For example, let's say a woman asks, "Why didn't you text me back?" Now, your first instinct might be to respond with something like, "I'm sorry, I've just been really busy, work has been overwhelming, I didn't want to seem rude, and I meant to get back to you earlier, but things just got crazy." You can already sense that the response is way too much. This not only makes you seem like you're trying to justify yourself too much, but also it makes her feel like you're not confident in your ability to prioritize her. Over-explaining only leaves her wondering if you're telling the truth or if you're simply trying to cover up something. Instead, a strong and confident response would be simple and direct: "I was busy, but I'm here now." That's it. It's clean, clear, and doesn't require any further explanation. By giving such a response, you demonstrate that you have control over your time, your decisions, and your priorities. It shows that you're confident enough to own your actions without scrambling for excuses or justifications. This response also allows room for her to move on from the situation without feeling like she's in control of it. Remember, the goal is to keep things simple. You don't need to launch into a detailed story about everything that's been keeping you busy or why you didn't respond. She doesn't need a play-by-play of your schedule. Instead, Just acknowledge the situation calmly and move forward. By doing so, you show that you're in charge of the interaction, not overwhelmed by it. Furthermore, over-explaining can actually make her question your confidence. If you're over-explaining something relatively minor, she may start to wonder why you're so anxious or why you need to justify every small thing. Confidence isn't about explaining why you did something, but about owning your actions and responses with certainty. A strong man isn't afraid to simply acknowledge the situation and move on. It doesn't make you appear distant or uncaring. In fact, it shows that you have your own life and you're not constantly worried about over-explaining your every move to maintain her approval. 3. Being too available. Let's now move on to another common mistake, being too available. Many men believe that if they are always available to a woman, she will appreciate them more or be more interested in them. It seems logical, right? If you always make yourself available to her, she'll see how much you care, and she'll naturally want to spend more time with you. However, this approach can actually backfire and cause her to take you for granted. It might seem like you're being thoughtful and attentive, but in reality, the opposite happens. The more you make yourself available to her, the more your time becomes expected. You lose your value when you become predictable and too easy to get. Mystery and scarcity are powerful forces when it comes to attraction. These two elements naturally trigger interest and curiosity in people. If you're always available, whether it's for text messages, phone calls, or spontaneous hangouts, she may start to feel like you're not that busy, that you don't have a lot going on in your own life, and that you're always available just to be with her. The truth is, when you're always there, it loses its excitement. Being too available makes you seem less valuable because she doesn't have to put in any effort to get your attention. Think about it, have you ever been so available to someone that it actually made them more attracted to you? Likely not. In fact, when you're constantly at her beck and call, it can have the opposite effect. She may start to take you for granted, assuming you will always be there to give her your attention. Now, let's flip the script. A man who values his time and has other things going on in his life naturally becomes more appealing. This doesn't mean you should ignore her or play games, but it does mean that you should have a balanced life. Have your own mission, your own purpose, and your own interests. A woman is more attracted to a man who is busy with his own passions and goals, because it shows that he's not just waiting around to give her attention. When a man is constantly preoccupied with his own ambitions, it forces the woman to respect his time and to value the moments she gets with him. It creates a natural sense of anticipation and desire, because she knows that your attention is precious, and you can't just drop everything for her whenever she wants it. Think about this, when you're busy doing your own thing, whether it's working on your career, pursuing hobbies, or hanging out with friends, it makes you mysterious and intriguing. It shows that you have a life beyond the relationship, and that's incredibly attractive. A man with a clear sense of direction, purpose, and self-worth doesn't need to be available at every moment. Instead, he prioritizes his own life and only makes time for her when it's meaningful. 4. Arguing emotionally. Arguing with a woman emotionally is another major mistake that men make. Men often try to win arguments with logic, but when emotions are involved, logic rarely works. If you get caught up in an emotional argument, it can escalate things unnecessarily. Instead, the key is to stay grounded, set clear boundaries, and walk away if needed. If a woman is emotional and you engage emotionally, it's a recipe for disaster. A calm, composed man who doesn't get sucked into emotional arguments is incredibly attractive. This shows that you're in control of your emotions and able to handle difficult situations with maturity and composure. 5. Failing her tests. One of the most common dynamics in relationships, whether early on or further into dating, is that women often test your confidence, and this can happen consciously or subconsciously. These tests are not meant to trap you, but rather to see how you handle challenges, uncertainty, or even slight discomfort in a relationship. The tests may not always be direct or obvious, sometimes they manifest as teasing, subtle dismissiveness, or even challenging your opinions. The crucial thing to understand is that women test your confidence to determine whether you are the type of man who stands his ground and remains calm under pressure. They are evaluating how solid your self-assurance is and whether you can remain grounded in your own sense of self, no matter what is thrown at you. For example, if a woman says something like, "You're not that funny," it may seem like a harmless comment, but it's actually a small test to gauge your reaction. If you get defensive or try to over-explain, you are essentially failing the test. A weak response would be, "Oh really? Why do you think that?" This type of response shows that you are rattled, looking for reassurance, and unsure of your own worth. Instead, a strong response would be, "You haven't seen my best material yet." This reply is playful, confident, and doesn't take the comment too seriously. It shows that you are unfazed by her challenge and confident enough not to need her approval. The point here is that when you're tested, whether in a joking manner or during a serious conversation, maintain your composure. Don't overreact or feel the need to justify yourself. When you react calmly, with humor or confidence, it communicates that you don't need validation from anyone, including her. This is one of the most attractive qualities you can demonstrate. It shows maturity, self-respect, and emotional stability. Women want a man who can handle life's little challenges and who doesn't crumble under pressure. Another example could be when she challenges your opinion. If she says, "I don't agree with you," and you start apologizing or getting overly emotional, you're falling into the trap. Instead, calmly acknowledge her perspective, but stand firm in your beliefs. A strong response would be, "That's interesting. I see it a bit differently, but I respect your opinion." This shows that you can engage with her without losing your cool, and it lets her know that you have a solid sense of who you are and aren't afraid to express it. These types of tests are not meant to undermine you but rather to gauge your emotional strength and self-assurance. The more you pass these tests with grace and confidence, the more she will respect you and see you as a strong, emotionally secure man. 6. Apologizing too much. Apologizing can be a powerful tool when used correctly, especially when you've genuinely done something wrong. However, over-apologizing for things that don't require an apology makes you appear weak and unsure of yourself. In a relationship, your words and actions should be intentional, not driven by the fear of causing discomfort. Imagine texting a woman and starting off with, "Sorry for bothering you." Even if you're just checking in with her, beginning a conversation with an apology like this sends the message that you feel like you're inconveniencing her, that you're taking up too much of her time, and that you're not sure whether you're welcome. This immediately makes you appear insecure. Instead, the key is to communicate with confidence and clarity. For example, rather than apologizing for texting her, say something like, "Hey, hope you're having a great day." This is simple, confident, and doesn't show any signs of insecurity. You're not begging for her attention or approval, you're just making a statement that you feel good about. It's important to understand that excessive apologizing signals a lack of boundaries. When you apologize for every little thing, it reflects that you don't believe your presence is valuable or welcome. A confident man doesn't feel the need to apologize unnecessarily. He doesn't apologize for sending a text or for taking up space in the conversation because he believes that his presence and actions are worthwhile. The goal is to apologize when it's truly necessary and to communicate with strength and maturity in every situation. Instead of apologizing for simply existing or for small misunderstandings, focus on becoming a man who knows when to speak his truth without regret. 7. Putting her on a pedestal. It's completely natural to admire and appreciate the woman you're with, but putting her on a pedestal can lead to disaster. While admiration is important, when you treat her like she's somehow superior to you, it can create an imbalance in the relationship and cause her to lose respect for you. When you put her on a pedestal, you're essentially saying that she's more important than you, that she deserves more attention, more compliments, and more affection than you do. This dynamic is unhealthy because it puts her in a position of power and diminishes your value. Over time, this imbalance can lead to her feeling less attracted to you because the relationship starts to feel unequal. Instead of worshipping her or showering her with excessive praise, focus on acknowledging her unique qualities without exaggerating them. For example, rather than saying, "You're the most amazing woman in the world," which could be interpreted as putting her on a pedestal, try saying, "I love your energy, it's refreshing." This is a genuine compliment, but it keeps things in perspective, allowing you to admire her qualities without putting her in an unrealistic or unattainable position. Remember, respect should be mutual in any relationship. You should admire her, but she should also admire you in return. When you stop putting her on a pedestal and treat her as your equal, the respect and attraction in the relationship stay strong. 8. Making her your entire life. Finally, one of the quickest ways to lose a woman is to make her your entire life. This is a mistake many men make early in relationships. When you lose yourself in her, you risk losing her. A woman wants a man who has his own mission, purpose, and goals outside of the relationship. When you place her at the center of your world and allow the relationship to become the focus of your life, you inadvertently make yourself less attractive. Why? Because a woman wants to feel like she complements your life, not that she is your life. If all you talk about, think about, or prioritize is her, it starts to feel overwhelming, suffocating, and even boring. A man who is entirely focused on the relationship can seem clingy, and this can diminish her attraction toward you. Instead, focus on building a life that's fulfilling and exciting on your own. A man who has goals, hobbies, friendships, and a sense of purpose outside the relationship becomes far more intriguing. He is not reliant on the woman for his happiness or self-worth, and that makes him all the more attractive. Having your own passions and a sense of direction in life makes you irresistible. It gives her the space to miss you, appreciate your time together, and keep the spark alive in the relationship. The woman you're with should be a valuable and important part of your life, but not the only part. Maintain your independence, continue to grow and pursue your own dreams, and the relationship will be much stronger and more balanced. The mindset shift: respect yourself first. Now, here's the mindset shift I promised. The key to attracting and maintaining healthy relationships is to respect yourself first. All of the mistakes we've discussed today ultimately boil down to one central theme: self-respect. Confidence, boundaries, and purpose all stem from the way you see and treat yourself. When you respect yourself, you don't feel the need to apologize for existing, over-explain yourself, or make others the center of your universe. You understand your own worth and carry yourself with dignity and pride. When you embody these traits, self-respect, confidence, and purpose, the right women will naturally be drawn to you. They will be attracted to your sense of self-assurance and the life you're building for yourself. If this video gave you valuable insights, hit the like button, leave a comment with your biggest takeaway, and share this with someone who could benefit from it. And, if you haven't already, subscribe for more tips on relationships, self-mastery, and mindset. Remember, the way you carry yourself directly influences how others treat you. Stay strong, stay focused, and keep growing. I'll see you in the next video. For now, check out this video for more tips on improving your life and relationships.